right names. There's Rico. Please come up. Nikita, Sachdev, please come up. Philip Lord and Zohair Dehnadi. Hopefully I get those names correctly. So we need how many? 5. One more chair. Guys, or I can stand up. It doesn't really matter. Okay, it's not too bad.
रिको कहाँ से आ गया इसमें?
This thing.
वो बोला कि extend का जब तक मत.
We have a very interesting topic. As you know, blockchain continues to evolve at the speed of light, and because it continues to evolve at the speed of light, there's a lot of innovation in this space, and one of the latest innovations is known as GameFi. GameFi, as the word says, is gaming in DeFi combining together, but it's actually much more than that. It's trying to combine several technologies that have been around for some time. For those that have been in the IT industry for a long time, you'll realize that a lot of the innovation that exists in IT today is because the gaming industry actually funded a lot of the cheap research in IT. And this includes, obviously, the chips that today actually do mining and the visual cards. Mining Ethereum, it's a result of gamification in the early days. But GameFi specifically is looking at 4 important elements. One is gaming. The second one is NFT. I think if you have seen any presentation that is gone up here today, there's always something, and NFT. So the NFT has become kind of the du jour word that it become very important. The third word is DeFi. DeFi stands for decentralized financing. And decentralized finance basically allows you to run the entire application, or you can say smart contract. By the way, smart contracts are neither contracts nor smart, but you can say it's pieces of code, either written in a language like Solidity or some equivalent language, depending on which blockchain it runs. And it allows you to identify the rules that drive inside the blockchain through the various nodes, the relationship between the individuals that are part of that blockchain. And the last element of GameFi is called DAO. DAO is also another name for decentralized autonomous organization. And DAOs are obviously extremely important because it's a way to create modern organizations. Now, if all the organizations today migrated immediately to DAO, you'd get the same thing that happens in the Bitcoin blockchain, 7 transactions per second. I mean, they will not be able to sustain. But however, as the blockchains become faster and faster, I think DAO is one of the important technologies that allows to establish the relationship between individuals and an organization, and automatically allow them to make decisions, but also to get compensated for the decisions in which they participate. So we have a very diversified panel that some are from investment, some already run storage and NFT projects, some run PR organizations that organize a lot of events. So the format that will start is basically very simple. I'll get everybody to spend a few minutes introducing themselves, and then a little bit of their opinions or their insight, expert insight into GameFi and how they see it going, and then we'll take it from there. So I'll start with Nikita here. Floor is yours.
Hi everyone. Nice to meet you. Again, I spoke earlier this morning. So yeah, my name is Nikita Sachdev. We're based out of Dubai. I'm from Houston, Texas. We run a leading crypto PR and advisory firm, but we've also started Luna VC, where we're investing in the projects that come on board, which has been incredible for us, especially because a lot of our projects are in GameFi, in the GameFi industry.
Good morning or good afternoon. Welcome. Please introduce yourself and the areas that you cover, and as it applies to GameFi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zohair Dehnadi from Germany. I run a VC company in Germany with a dedicated fund for blockchain. And yeah, we are very excited about GameFi and have made some investments, and looking forward to talk to you all about this topic.
Yeah, we have Rico here with some or several projects in the area of NFTs, but now it's NFT plus.
Hi everyone, Rico Pang from Sanctum Global Ventures. My partner Dunson Teo is an OG in the Bitcoin space, invested more than 350 projects in his lifetime in the crypto space alone. We have a few funds. Recently we set up a new fund called the Diamond Hands. We are looking to invest in the tier 1, tier 2 funds of funds, and also into L1 and L2 blockchains infrastructures. And we are focusing a lot into NFT and GameFi industry for these Diamond Hands funds. As you can tell, it's a meme name. We have our own traditional fund. We invest in deep tech. We are a deep tech forum organizers. Deeptechforum.com is our platform that will be organizing more deep tech events in the upcoming months in Dubai as well. We are an investor now, and we are also incubator accelerator. We have recently set up our Sanctum Assets division, where we are moving into developing properties aligned with the metaverse world and virtual reality world. Thank you.
Philip?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Philip Lord. I'm from Pilmico Partners. We're traditional corporate finance boutique, but we invest a lot in blockchain projects and blockchain funds. An example of a deal that we did last year, we listed a SPAC on NASDAQ, and we'll be looking for a fintech or blockchain company to go into that. Also father of 3 sons, so I'm learning a lot about the industry from my 3 sons.
Gaming is an extremely important industry in our business. Many of you have been around crypto for the last 7 or 10 years, probably heard of something called Mt. Gox. That was the first exchange that got massively hacked, and a lot of BTC got extracted from it. What most people don't realize that Mt. Gox was primarily an exchange for games. So people who invested in games were using Mt. Gox as a way to monetize what elements they were earning in gaming. So gaming and gamification is extremely important because people who play games for a long time, they earn swords, they earn personalities and others. And as a result, they're able to trade them. Now with the advent of NFT, what we're able to do is combine the two together. The nice thing about gaming is that it has massive attraction. About, I guess, 2 years ago, just a little bit before COVID, there were several events that got held here about gaming. One was called Insomnia, which came to Dubai from UK. It was a week event. I went to Saudi Arabia. There was people at the door, over 10,000 people. So you can imagine. The second one was called Girl Gamers, which is a group of individuals from both Macau and Portugal. Only girls playing games, but very hot. It ran at the hotel where usually they have the horse races, the Maidan. Again, another 5,000 people and amazing traction. Why? Because people like games and youngsters is the future. So I would like to maybe get back here to Nikita and give her perspective, since the other guys are more on the finance side. Nikita, about the PR aspects, the importance on how this helps drive the industry to new heights.
Yeah, so when we first got into GameFi as well, we needed some advice from some 14, 15-year-old boys mostly to teach us what the hype was about. But then we realized it's not just this target market. The target market is much bigger than that. The best use case that I've seen so far in GameFi has been Axie Infinity. And what we learned from Axie was, one, they created like huge mass adoption and very quickly. They got people addicted to the game and they got them incentivized because they were you would play and earn tokens, but then you're stuck because you're staking the tokens. And then they've created this like long-term strategy where people are, you know, really tied to the game for a long time. But more than that, they're giving people an opportunity to earn while having fun without the restrictions that typical finance industries have. Because now, like with GameFi, it's gaming and DeFi. So you have like, well, some people say gaming and finance, but I think it's gaming and DeFi because you're giving an opportunity to people to play this game. You don't need any bank accounts. You don't need any, you know, third-party brokerage or anything. Like this is straight crypto, peer-to-peer, and you're earning through this game. And people are earning, like I would say, almost probably what the average salary here is in a month in using this game. And imagine how powerful that is for developing countries like Philippines, where just because Axie Infinity is super popular in Philippines, where people can have an opportunity to earn tremendously. So from a PR and marketing perspective, I think that if you have like a story like this, PR is easy. And like I always tell all my clients that like if you think that we're doing a bad job, maybe question, is your platform really gonna, you know, create mass adoption? And so when we get GameFi platforms like this, it's so easy to do the PR and marketing, and traditional publications are interested, crypto publications are interested. We get them all over the press just because everyone can relate to this product.
Yeah, I sympathize with that, because when we had things like girls, gamers here in town, all the sheikhs wanted to be part of it, and you know, they got basically free hotel and everything just to be part of the event. So it completely changed the rules of the game. So we have here Zohair from Germany. I think 2 countries in Europe are doing massive adoption for crypto and blockchain. One is Portugal, and I'm putting in just a little tip for an old country I was born in, you know, 0 tax for crypto. So it's very important. There's many conferences going on right now. One of them was Web Summit, where a lot of these technologies are being presented. Solana coming in a few days. So, and the other country I think is Germany, and Germany is driving crypto adoption by allowing regulated entities to be part. Banking system is participating with custody. So Zohair, your views from Germany to the Middle East.
So in general, I think for anyone that has ever played computer games, and maybe some of you grew up playing, I don't know, Atari, Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, it's something very exciting because we all know the experience of wasting many, many hours earning some kind of skin or sword. And then a week later, you ask yourself, like, really, what did I do there? I wasted my life, hours, days, weeks, for some people, even decades. And now all of a sudden you have the opportunity to monetize basically wasted lifetime, right? So, and from a macro perspective, this is very interesting because if we would just assume GDP at 100, all of a sudden you monetize wasted time and total GDP grows. So it's from an economic perspective and from an individual perspective, something very, very exciting, like true digital ownership, and you can like trade your skins on a secondary market. That's the good side. So it's super exciting, and it can be a Trojan horse for blockchain in general because people love games. I think the game industry is bigger than the music and film industry combined. So it really has the potential to help blockchain with mass adoption on the one hand. But I think on the other hand, maybe it's my German perspective, but we need to also tackle these hyped blockchain themes with a bit of humility and really realized that right now, most of the games in GameFi, like, sorry, but they suck. They are really bad. They're really boring. I don't know if you have played some of them, but they're mostly like just some kind of card games, not really AAA games. It has a lot of potential to grow, but right now I think we should differentiate between real gamers and what they love about games, which is game first and maybe later crypto second, and maybe GameFiers, which are there to earn money, which is a job, right? So I think, for example, Axis is an interesting example. I don't think really a real gamer would love to play Axis for many hours. But of course, in Southeast Asia, it's considered a job, and you play basically, but it's primarily a job. And so yeah, for us, it will be very interesting to see how these two paths will cross. Will we really be able to make really interesting games with a cool NFT DeFi side to it?
Okay, amazing. I had a chance to visit, I think, over 10 countries in Asia, whether it was Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, China, and so on. I think gaming is part of the Asian culture. So I think Rico can give us this inside perspective like nobody else. It's so much part of the culture that they restrict you the amount of hours that you're allowed to play in certain countries because of the addiction factor.
Yeah, back in those days when my parents would say, shut the TV, and your computer is locked in our parents' room, not in your own room, because of these restrictions, you know. I'm from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and my partner, Dunstan, is from Singapore. He's a real geek. He's been playing everything, all the games since he was young, and he's 41 years old. So, you know, that goes back a lot of games. I still remember those days we were playing with 486 computers and Pentium Pro computers, and you put in floppy disks to load 10, 20 floppy disks to load one game out. So things are different now. Obviously, the game psychology and the gamification model has evolved with the blockchains and DeFi. We are looking at a lot of AAA game publishers entering the space, a lot of artists, a lot of designers, a lot of big names coming to the space in the next couple of months. A lot of them are already in, actually. Ubisoft has been developing a lot of cool games in different countries. Many AAA publishers are looking at expanding their investments and investing into this industry. That's got to do with GameFi and the blockchain space. The crypto industry is booming because of that. Over the pandemic, thanks to that, a lot of people are playing more games now and making money. Xfinity is a good example that our friend mentioned earlier on, how some kids at a very young age can actually earn their living and play to earn and no longer need to work their usual job and became professional gamer. So a lot of kids, especially the Gen Z, are looking at a different lifestyle, different need when they move to the next level, when they go to university later on. The program that they'll be interested to study will be a lot related to the gamification model, because they raise with this environment around there where they're incentivized to do certain actions, and in return they will get rewarded. And not only just monetary, it's also entertainment, education, pleasure in this process. So that's why we're looking at the next, next 5 to 10 years, where this industry is going to have a huge boom. But with DeFi, it makes things more interesting because no one is able to track where the monies are. Wallet transferring from wallets. We don't know who owns the wallets, who operate the wallets. It's the same problem where we were looking at where the money are, in terms of money laundering issues, which we're not touching today. But Bitcoin started with this whole thing where the gamers started this whole use of Bitcoin, and then later on the rest of people came in, the geeks, the programmers, the hackers, the dark web. But because of this history, we're looking at the young generation now repeating this with different cryptocurrencies, and the gamification model are so interesting that the graphic is so awesome. It's not like those days when we play very bad VGA card. The experience is so awesome. You are looking at 3D, augmented realities, 360-degree Oculus sort of experience where they can do it in their home, in their leisure time, and they can actually make money at the same time. So that changes the whole global economy. A few years ago, when I was hiring, when I was working in China as a CEO, I was hiring, and I was finding it hard to hire fresh graduates in China because they rather do other job than work in the office. You know, in Malaysia, many people would rather be a Uber driver or a Grab driver than work in the office. They make more money doing that and have the freedom. So I was asking a lot of our investors and venture capital funds, like, is this a trend that we are supporting? Because this is going to change the talent world in every single industry. If you can't even hire junior staff, how are you going to have mid-management staff in your company in the future? Everyone is their own boss. Everyone, you know, have their own wealth. And this is what we are observing in the new generation. You have kids who know how to make money with some credit card swipe from the parents, and they can return the money with good investment, return investment to their parents, because they have learned how to become an entrepreneur at a very young age. So I think the GameFi model is not just about technology, not about crypto. It's a shift of the global culture of entrepreneurship. Thank you.
So everybody's becoming an entrepreneur. I remember there was a famous book that says rich dad, poor kid, but now I think it's rich kid, poor dad. So I think Philip has some experience here that he's learning from his kids. So Philip, the floor is yours.
I mean, it's as a parent, you don't want your kids to play games the whole time, but actually we're learning that's completely wrong, you know, because your kids could be millionaires by the time to graduate. Yeah, I mean, obviously this sector's super hot, was it? But actually, looking at the room, it's you know, there's still, on a relative basis of wallets, there's like 700,000 wallets now. There's 168 million in crypto, right? So this sector's got so much further to go. You know, and I think it's just wonderful. Like, you know, a 25-year-old kid is actually old in this industry. You know, it is really that sort of like 12 to 16 guys that are going to come through, you know, and they're learning. There's 330 million players in Fortnite. You know, they're learning a completely different world that we weren't operating in, you know, with a metaverse. And I just think there's huge opportunity from, you know, a traditional equity markets perspective as well. You know, obviously a lot of the big gaming companies out there are listed, but, you know, this segment is like, I don't know, 5, 6 months, 9 months old. You know, there's a lot of sort of money still to be deployed in this sector. And, you know, I think equity markets will lap this sector up more so than the DeFi itself. But like the GameFi is super exciting because the market understands it. So, but yeah, as a father, you know, getting them out to work as opposed to car washing or working in a shop. Now, you know, it seems a lot better. They can retire on Fortnite by the time they're 18, you know.
Actually, you brought a very interesting keyword. So far, we talked about gaming, DeFi, DAOs, and etc. But one important keyword you mentioned was the metaverse, and I think it's something that GameFi needs to also potentially look. And when I talk about metaverse, not just metaverse, sometimes we call it metaverse, polyverse, or multiverse, where you have a mixture between reality and the gaming. And the people that will be able to do that, I think, will extend substantially the adoption factor, simply because today the computing power that you have on your mobile is simply not enough yet to have a very high resolution metaverse. So I would like to have maybe the opinion of some of the panelists here as well on how we move to this, I guess, multiverse, metaverse, or mixed reality, and how this is also going to enhance the adoption of GameFi as well.
Well, I'm excited to answer this one because just last week we released some news. Luna PR released news along with TG Ventures that SoftBank invested $93 million in Sandbox. And then we also saw a couple of weeks before that Facebook is putting forward $10 billion for the development of their metaverse and 1/3 of their workforce. But they've even changed their name to Meta, which is like If Facebook cannot get mass adoption, then who will? You know, it's Facebook. So, I mean, I don't think it's a question of if, it's a question of when we will start going to the metaverse. I think, so for those of you who don't know, I did speak earlier at 10 a.m. and I talked about the metaverse. It's like an alternate universe and through a VR set where you can buy property, you can drive whatever car you want, be whoever you want. It's really crazy when you think about it, but I guarantee that your children and grandchildren will be sitting in their workplace and saying, you know what, I feel like a beach vacation. Let me just put my metaverse on, and they'll be sitting in a beach for 10 minutes and they'll pop back to work. We are definitely moving in that direction. So I think we're still really early on, but they're the biggest companies now are implementing the metaverse. So we'll definitely be seeing that soon.
So here,
yeah, to build on that, I don't know who here is familiar with the simulation theory, but a couple of years ago, Elon Musk gave a really interesting panel talk where he said that there is a 0.001% chance that we are not in a simulation at this moment. And the way he argued was that, okay, you take our state of technology, the beginnings of metaverse, and you extrapolate that with a certain growth rate. You can have a small growth rate or a big growth rate, go 100 or 1,000 years in the future, and humanity will be able to simulate what we see here just as realistic as we see it here. So basically, I fully agree that fortunately or unfortunately, we are at the kind of beginning of a digital layer, which will likely merge with our day-to-day more and more. And we might at some point be creators of really realistic realities.
Rico, alternate realities.
So that's the reason why we are here in Dubai, and the reason why we set up Sanctum Assets that enter the real estate business. For parents who are worried that the kids will play games the whole day and not getting enough rest and not getting healthy. And also to have the whole integration between the virtual world and the physical world. The kids could have ordered food, but he's still playing a game because the food arrived and if it's not being modified, he's in the game, in his Oculus or in the screen. So he doesn't eat and the food not being delivered. So a lot of things are not being seamlessly integrated in our current living environment. That's where we see a lot of opportunity for the metaverse world integration with the whole physical infrastructure. So the government and a lot of people have been talking about smart cities, being smart home, smart office, everything smart. Then we realize that it's not really that smart anymore because everything is used against us to manage us, to control us, and to know what we are doing. And the data is not owned by ourselves, it's owned by someone else. So I think that itself is where we see our whole industry looking into a movement to actually empower everyone in the room here to think about it. What should we do to protect our own data? How can we control our own data? And what sort of environment do we want our next generation to live in? You know, if we are given a chance to build a new home for them. So I think that's where we are looking at all kinds of solutions and partners, thought leaders, as well as all guards in your own industry to come together to work together as a moving forward movement to build a better environment and living environment for the future generations. I think that's where we are looking at a future metaverse world where it's a balanced environment for the future generation and they can live happily and they work, they make a living, you know, and how this thing is being done needs a lot of parties involvement altogether, from a regulator's point of view, from parents' point of view, from tech enablers and investors' point of view. I think we need to come together on the high level round table to discuss all these solutions and the problems around it so that we can make it right. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you brought an important element, which is the element of security of the metaverse and security of the gaming virtual worlds. I invite you to visit a website called xrsi.org, which is a venture that we started free of charge in the United States, California, and has created now version 2 of the framework to protect the information in these new metaverses. And then Philip, any other extra words, wisdom?
No, I'm just buying as much. I think it's a trade of the next 25 years. I mean, it's just unbelievable what's going on. When, you know, one of the top smartest guys in the world converts his name, his company name to Meta, and puts a third of the staff on the job, kind of tells you something, you know. And I think, you know, the kids now are just getting trained. Everybody playing Roblox, Fortnite, you know. I mean, this is like PhD in what the metaverse is, you know, sort of training these kids into. So I think there's huge opportunities. One of the great companies, you know, as a parent, I obviously, you know, educate. You know, and my friend Rico, Asians, they drill music down kids the whole time. So all my kids play instruments. Was it, you know, 5G is a bit sluggish. 6G is going to change the game on these metaverses. You know, I saw an incredible company the other day that taught kids how to play the piano, you know, and they can do the violin or whatever instrument they want. But imagine that being in, you know, a small flat in, you know, Hong Kong, where it's a problem having a, you know, a big baby grand or, you know, sort of a piano. You can now play the piano in the metaverse, you know. Also, you know, you got bored, you want to bring your friends in, you know, one can play a violin, one can play a piano, and you can play Madison, you know, or you can play the Albert Hall with your friends, right? Which then in turn creates, you know, sort of a place to sort of, the kids can, or people can start, you know, sort of generating revenue, which goes back to GameFi. So if you look at like Fortnite, you know, I think they had DJ Marshmello with 15 million people turning up in the concert. So it all kind of goes in a circle. So super excited about this.
Okay, we're gonna have a few final words from everybody. I think our time is running out, so 30 seconds, everybody. From my perspective, things look very bright. I mean, we have exciting technology. We have exciting markets to address. As you know, you should go after what I call billion-size markets. So we have 1 billion people in Africa. We have 1 billion people in India. We have 2 billion Muslims. I think if you do the calculations, things look straightforward. Yeah. And the rest are, I think, 1 billion in China as well. So any final words from Nikita, Zohair, Rico, and Philip. So Nikita.
Yeah, so final words. Despite being really new, and yeah, we do have some weird games out there. Almost I've seen like Pac-Man and they call it GameFi and investors are like, take my money. But even then, I think that the industry is super hot. We're definitely getting somewhere with this. I think if anything drives crypto mass adoption, it will be through gaming and GameFi. So I'm very optimistic about it.
I would fully agree. Super optimistic about it, super bullish about it, and very much looking forward how GameFi and gaming will merge together. And for me especially, I love the fact that players can be owners of their own time and of the games and contribute.
We are seeing about 20 to 30 gamifying projects at the moment.
Someone
so
asking why
very involved in the architecture of the tokenomics, the global PR campaign, the business model, the business element, and everything. As we are excited about the growth of DeFi NFTs, and we see the potential of it growing very quickly, even though the bear market is so but I believe that we as an industry should not worry about that too much. We just continue to play more games and to do more trades, let the volume go up and bring more liquidity into the space. Thank you.
Philip?
Maybe let your kids play more games and listen to them, and then invest in them later on. And if you can't do that, just buy some Facebook shares. I think, you know, we've got to play it somehow.
I'm going to add something extra to the audience. I think let's combine gamification with something a little bit more serious. We're trying to decarbonize the planet. Why don't we maybe gamify for decarbonize the planet? Make all the kids addicted, remove some CO2 from our planet. Maybe this is the idea for a next unicorn out there. So I give it back to our friend.
You heard it here first. Big round of applause. GameFi, fascinating topic, amazing panel. Very well done. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it.
You.
One for the photo.